Good morning, everyone. Today I want to present about my story called Culture Scroll. Chapter 1. Once there was a humble village with many unique structures and lands to serve as their culture. But as time passes by, the villagers lose their memories of the cultures around that time. The village was attacked by a government prohibiting unique cultures. Four children were trying to escape, but one was taken. The villagers hid themselves into the mountains. A few years went by as the three children grew. One of them name was Tariq. Tariq was working hard in the mines of the mountain until he got a call by one of the king's messenger. Tariq listened to the messenger and decided to follow him. The king was happy to see Tariq and gave him a task to complete. But Tariq wanted extra help, so he asked for Naima and Jingfu to accompany him. The king was quite confused. Naima was a great navigator and a map maker, but Jingfu was a thief and untrustworthy. The king and Tariq argued for a while, and the king decided to grant Tariq's request. Chapter 2. Tariq meets his old friends and is ecstatic, but mostly Naima. Tariq decided to mock or annoy Jingfu about his actions of a thief, of being a untrustworthy person. Jingfu is annoyed but accepts the fact that he is untrustworthy. The king handed them the scroll and opened the gates heading towards the outside. When they walked out, they saw a lush green land and animals wandering about, but they were on a mission to deliver the scroll. But they had some little inconveniences while traveling, but eventually they meet a woman dressed in all white asking to be brought to Singkawang. On their way to Singkawang, they decided to read the scroll and were shocked about the information inside it. While reading the scroll, the woman took it and dashed away with it. Tariq and friends are in a pursuit of her. Tariq and Naima were chasing the woman who had taken the scroll. Jingfu takes a glance at the woman, and the face is similar to an old friend of theirs. Jingfu was confused, and when Jingfu tells them to Tariq and Naima was also quite puzzled but ignored the fact and started to chase her again. They chased after her and she hid and receiving a message from someone who asked for the scroll. The group tied her up and waited for Wei Ming to arrive. The group hid and Jingfu chuckled, explaining that he had replaced the scroll with a fake. As Jingfu was trying to give the scroll to Tariq, the scroll was shot by Wei Ming's men, and the group was shocked as the destruction of the scroll and also the technology used for that destruction. The group hid behind a boulder, almost evading their attacks. The group led by Tariq is trapped in a situation after the destruction of the scroll. They flee into the main road leading to Singkawang, where they are ambushed by Wei Ming and his men. Tariq was furious, and Wei Ming was scolding him for not accepting their rules and preserving their culture. Naima saves Tariq from the ambush from Wei Ming, while Jingfu gets the woman and brings them over the tree that was cut down by Wei Ming. They search the woman's body, and which turns out to be an old looking wooden object with a carving in the middle of it. Jingfu decides to break the object, and the woman wakes up asking if they are her friends. They all hug as they're reunited as their old friends. Tariq and Jingfu were excited to have back as they decided to remake the scroll in their way to Singkawang. While rewriting the scroll, but most but while writing the scroll, they had lost their memories of the information inside the scroll and started forgetting about their culture as well. Maima gave the scroll to after she asked to write it. When then she passed out, if the group was worried about but until checking the scroll, they saw a list of their culture information and were puzzled and was surprised and shocked. They presented the scroll to the Emperor of Singkawang, who was ecstatic to learn more about cultures. The group decided to stay and give to the best doctors in Singkawang to make her recover faster, resting and continuing their journey back to their home village. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, and night, everyone. Today I'll be reading my fiction story titled Diversity is What Makes Our Identity by Naomi Kichati Fasabel. Dewi was an average student in Altair High. Altair is the brightest star in the constellation of Apulia and the 12th brightest star in the night sky. As she held her bag by her side, she quickly sped through the house and out the house gate as her mother yelled, "Don't forget your breakfast!" Dewi quickly face-palmed herself before running back inside, taking solidified nutrients in the shape of a cube. Nowadays, in the year 3054, people don't eat normal food. They now eat nutrient cubes, which consist of vitamins, minerals, protein, fats, water, and carbohydrates. Most foods are banned anyways. You see, now in 3054, people have criminalized public displays of traditional culture, which includes traditional food, dances, and anything really. They even ban speaking your native language. People only speak English now due to the fact that it can cause inequality and how differences will only lead to bigger problems. A place that used to be known as Indonesia, there's now a futuristic world where everyone is one, but at what cost? Having everyone be the same. Then we went to school. She arrives right on time, and as she sat down in her class and went on with her day at school. After school, she had a secret. Though she told her mother every day after school she had a group project with her friends that would take up 70% of her grades, but in reality, she was meeting up with her friends to rehearse and dance tari piring with her two friends, Bintang and Ratika, and other performers who wished to rebel on the rule of hiding their culture and resort to perform in an underground area. The underground performance area was placed in an abandoned subway station. As Dewi made her way to the subway station, she found her friends waiting in front of the stairway to enter the subway station. God, Dewi, we've been waiting for an hour, Kartika said, groaning, as Bintang collectively groaned as well. I feel like my legs are about to fall off, she said as she laid on the ground. Dewi rolled her eyes with a smile before helping Bintang up. Sorry I took so long. You're not too tired to dance, are you? Dewi said as Bintang stretched and spoke. Of course not. Now let's go, she said as Kartika made her way through the subway first. The subway was blocked off with wooden boards, but they went through the hole where another wooden board used to be. As they went through the subway station, they finally arrived at the performance area, where rebellions come together to perform and watch others present and show their traditional arts in dancing, painting, and anything, as long as they express their culture. Here they are all family. They felt safe, as Kartika, Bintang, and Dewi had the time of their lives, dancing, tari for fun, before going home at 8 p.m. their curfew. Little did they know when they went home, an officer was investigating the area. Authorities had been trying to find this illegal underground performance area for months, and the certain officer caught a glimpse of people coming out of the abandoned subway at 12 a.m. As she managed to see people try to hide a barong-sized head, the officer quickly went back and drove off in her police car to report this to the police station and the police chief. As the officer drove off to the police station, the officer's car drove in the night to the night. The second she arrived, she quickly parked the car and slammed her car door shut, speeding through the police station and chief's office. Chief, I have a lead on the case, she said as the chief turned from his seat, leaning on his desk, looking laid back, as the officer's name tag shone from the office light, illuminating her name. What is it, Officer Kate? The chief said, as he leaned on his chair, looking laid back, picking up a mug of coffee. Earlier today, I saw some people sneaking out of the abandoned subway in the city, and I managed to catch a glimpse of a barong-sized head. With that, the chief immediately got invested and sat up straight. When? The chief asked, placing the mug down. 12 a.m. today, Kate answered. We'll investigate the area tomorrow, the chief said before telling Kate to leave the office so he can inform the others. The next day, Dewi and her friends Bintang and Kartika went back to the secret illegal underground performance area only to be greeted by the police. The police have raided the area, the wooden boards have been broken down, and it was crowded with people being arrested left and right, and news reporters reporting the area. The moment the three saw this, their jaws dropped in fear. No, Kartika said, her voice barely above a whisper. Just then, an officer approached Dewi, Bintang, and Kartika. You three are getting arrested, he said as he took out handcuffs, cuffing Bintang as another officer cuffed Kartika. What? Bintang said, refusing to be handcuffed, while Kartika looked confused. What did we do? Kartika questioned, as the officer tightened her cuffs. You three were caught taking part in this illegal underground performance area. You were caught in the city security cameras in the act, she said Officer Kate as she walked up to them, her arms crossed. Wait, but was all Dewey were able to say before a reporter pulled her away and pulled her aside. Um, Going live. This is the news reporter going live. Today we are at the abandoned train station down in the city where an illegal underground performance area was found. In here today with one of the people who took part in the discovery. Have anything to say? The reporter said, putting the microphone in front of Dewey's face. While Officer Kate goes behind her, handcuffing her. While Dewey got handcuffed, Dewey took the chance to convince others the need of traditional dance and how it wasn't just a hobby she wanted to do, how it makes her truly feel like herself and one of with her culture. Listen, culture and traditions build us to be who we are. How are we supposed to know who we are and what we are if we don't embrace where we are from? Dewey said to the microphone that was held by the news reporter. The news reporter looked quite taken aback, but she continued to let Dewey speak. As Dewey's face got broadcasted or to every screen in the city, every billboard, every TV channel, everything, as Dewey tried to convince the officials and everyone on the importance of all our culture and how it affects people's thoughts and perspectives within culture, how culture builds who we are and where we are from, how being diverse is beautiful and nothing to be hidden or ashamed of. The people who were being arrested around the abandoned train station exclaimed in agreement as the three got arrested and stuffed into Officer Kate's car. As the city filled with the sound of police sirens and people protesting outside their homes, Kartika looked out the window, proud at the actions of the people in the city regarding the foolish rule of criminalizing the act of showing culture. As Dewi and Bintang followed. Meanwhile, Kate was thinking, conflicted. Ever since Dewi's speech, she starts to notice the absurdity of the rule. Driving into the police station, they were angry at the action that the officials took. Finally, when they arrived at the police station, Dewi, Bintang, and Kartika got locked up in a cold cell as they sat there thinking as well. After a few minutes passed, an officer came to the cell, unlocking it and letting all three of them free, telling them that their parents are here to pick them up. As they went home separately, um, Dewi's mother spoke to her. Dewi, I'm not angry, a little disappointed that you hid this from me, but I am proud that you were able to defend yourself and your friends for a good cause. Dewi was surprised as she smiled, looking at the view of the chaos all over the streets, seeing people arrested and others protesting their rights to express their culture. Dewi was slightly proud of herself that she was able to make a difference and open the people's eyes. For the next few days, the civilians started to rebel with the rules, showing culture. Even the officials started rebelling to the point where the rule officially got removed from the president. Everyone was free to show their culture. As Dewi waved goodbye to her mother, she left her house to go to school. A smile formed on her face, the smell of traditional dishes filling the streets, a parade celebrating diversity and cultural resilience. As the removed rule against expression culture, the streets looked so lively, a victory for the people. Therefore, the message for this story is to always remember that your culture is what builds who you are. The diversity is important and having everyone to be the same would or later be boring and irrelevant. Thank you. A place that used to be known as Indonesia, there's now a futuristic world where everyone is one. But at what cost? Having everyone be the same. Then we went to school. She arrives right on time, and as she sat down in her class and went on with her day at school. After school, she had a secret. Though she told her mother every day after school she had a group project with her friends that would take up 70% of her grades, but in reality, she was meeting up with her friends to rehearse and dance study piring with her two friends, Bintang and Ratika, and other performers who wished to rebel on the rule of hiding their culture and resort to perform in an underground area. The underground performance area was placed in an abandoned subway station. As Dewi made her way to the subway station, she found her friends waiting in front of the stairway to enter the subway station. God, Dewi, we've been waiting for an hour, Kartika said, groaning, as Bintang collectively groaned as well. I feel like my legs are about to fall off, she said as she laid on the ground. Dewi rolled her eyes with a smile before helping Bintang up. Sorry I took so long. You're not too tired to dance, are you? Dewi said as Bintang stretched and spoke. Of course not. Now let's go, she said as Kartika made her way through the subway first. The subway was blocked off with wooden boards, but they went through the hole where another wooden board used to be. As they went through the subway station, they finally arrived at the performance area, where rebellions come together to perform and watch others present and show their traditional arts in dancing, painting, and anything, as long as they express their culture. Here they are all family. They felt safe, as Kartika, Bintang, and Dewi had the time of their lives, dancing, teddy for fun, before going home at 8 p.m. their curfew. Little did they know when they went home, an officer was investigating the area. Authorities had been trying to find this illegal underground performance area for months, and the certain officer caught a glimpse of people coming out of the abandoned subway at 12 a.m. As she managed to see people trying to hide a bottle-sized head, the officer quickly went back and drove off in her police car to report this to the police station and police chief. As the officer drove off to the police station, the officer's car drove in the night to the night. The second she arrived, she quickly parked the car and slammed her car door shut, speeding through the police station and chief's office. Chief, I have a lead on the case, she said as the chief turned from his seat, leaning on his desk, looking laid back. As the officer's name tag shone from the office light, illuminating her name. "What is it, Officer Kate?" the chief said, as he leaned on his chair, looking laid back, picking up a mug of coffee. "Earlier today, I saw some people sneaking out of the abandoned subway in the city, and I managed to catch a glimpse of a barongsai's head." With that, the chief immediately got invested and sat up straight. "When?" the chief asked, placing the mug down. "12 a.m. today," Kate answered. "We'll investigate the area tomorrow," the chief said before telling Kate to leave the office so he can inform the others. The next day, Dewi and her friends Bintang and Kartika went back to the secret illegal underground performance area only to be greeted by the police. The police have raided the area, the wooden boards have been broken down, and it was crowded with people being arrested left and right, and news reporters reporting the area. The moment the three saw this, their jaws dropped in fear. "No," Kartika said, her voice barely above a whisper. Just then, an officer approached Dewi, Bintang, and Kartika. "You three are getting arrested," he said as he took out handcuffs, cuffing Bintang as another officer cuffed Kartika. "What?" Bintang said, refusing to be handcuffed, while Kartika looked confused. "What did we do?" Kartika questioned, as the officer tightened her cuffs. "You three were caught taking part in this illegal underground performance area. You were caught in the city security cameras in the act," she said Officer Kate as she walked up to them, her arms crossed. "Wait, but," was all Dewi were able to say before a reporter pulled her away and pulled her aside, going live. "This is the news reporter going live. Today we are at the abandoned train station down in the city where an illegal underground performance area was found. In here today with one of the people who took part in the discovery. Have anything to say?" the reporter said, putting the microphone in front of Dewi's face, while Officer Kate goes behind her, handcuffing her. While Dewi got handcuffed, Dewi took the chance to convince others the need of traditional dance and how it wasn't just a hobby she wanted to do, how it makes her truly feel like herself and with her culture. "Listen, culture and traditions build us to be who we are. How are we supposed to know who we are and what we are if we don't embrace where we are from?" Dewi said to the microphone that was held by the news reporter. The news reporter looked quite taken aback, but she continued to let Dewi speak. As Dewi's face got broadcasted or to every screen in the city, every billboard, every TV channel, everything, as Dewey tried to convince the officials and everyone on the importance of our culture and how it affects people's thoughts and perspectives within culture, how culture builds who we are and where we are from, how being diverse is beautiful and nothing to be hidden or ashamed of. The people who were being arrested around the abandoned train station exclaimed in agreement as the three got arrested and stuffed into Officer Kate's car. As the city filled with the sound of police sirens and people protesting outside their homes, Kartika looked out the window, proud at the actions of the people in the city regarding the foolish rule of criminalizing the act of showing culture. As Dewi and Bintang followed. Meanwhile, Kate was thinking, conflicted. Ever since Dewi's speech, she starts to notice the absurdity of the rule. Driving into the police station, they were angry at the action that the officials took. Finally, when they arrived at the police station, Dewi, Bintang, and Kartika got locked up in a cold cell as they sat there thinking as well. After a few minutes passed, an officer came to the cell, unlocking it and letting all three of them free, telling them that their parents are here to pick them up. As they went home separately, Dewi's mother spoke to her. "Dewi, I'm not angry, a little disappointed that you hid this from me, but I am proud that you were able to defend yourself and your friends for a good cause." Dewi was surprised as she smiled, looking at the view of the chaos all over the streets, seeing people arrested and others protesting their rights to express their culture. Dewi was slightly proud of herself that she was able to make a difference and open the people's eyes. For the next few days, civilians started to rebel with the rules showing culture. Even the officials started rebelling to the point where the rule officially got removed by the president. Everyone was free to show their culture. As Dewi waved goodbye to her mother, she left her house to go to school. A smile formed on her face, the smell of traditional dishes filling the streets, a parade celebrating diversity and cultural resilience. As the removed rule against expression culture, the streets looked so lively, a victory for the people. Therefore, the message for this story is to always remember that your culture is what builds who you are. The diversity is important, and having everyone to be the same would sooner or later be boring and irrelevant. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Kader Andisa Sadikin, and today I will be reciting my poem called This Echoes of the Past. This is for my Hala Term 2 project, and this story follows a young teenage girl named May Putri. She lives in Jakarta, though she is half Chinese, half Indonesian. This follows her journey on uncovering and embracing her traditional cultures and embracing her newfound identity. The story starts off in Jakarta. The air in Jakarta was filled with exhaust fumes, a smell that was all on its own. May Putri, a girl who knew the city well, walked the busy sidewalk as usual. Her days were filled with school, technology, and latest trends. But one sunny afternoon, her grandmother, Lynn, handed her a simple wooden box. It looked dusty and worn out, with a simple hand-carved traditional design. Lynn explained it had belonged to her great-grandmother. "It's full of stories about our family and our heritage," Lynn said, her voice soft. May took the box. It swayed surprisingly heavy in her hand. Lynn smiled. "I know you're busy with your life in the city," she said, "but I hope you'll take some time to look at what's inside. It just might change of how you see yourself." May nodded. She felt curious about what may be inside the wooden box. She wasn't sure what the secret the box held, but she knew finding out would be a journey she had to go through. The wooden box sat on May's desk. Driven by curiosity, she finally decided to open it. Inside, under all that dust, is a collection of objects. A hand-stitched pouch filled with fragrant herbs, a small jade pendant, a leather journal with worn-out and rusty metal clasp. Each item feels like a past she never knew of. May starts to examine each and every object in that box. The silk pouch reminds her of her grandmother's stories about traditional remedies. It made her wonder if these remedies would actually work, or if they were just old myths. The jade pendant was cool to touch, and the journal were filled with writing. She knew this box is the key to unlocking her past, but May was worried about what she might find and what might mean for her modern life she's living in. May starts to explore deeper into her heritage. She researched her family's history, piecing together the stories her grandmother had told her. She learned about her ancestors' migration, their struggles, and the traditions they carried. She started to implement these traditions into her own life by trying out new recipes, learning new phrases, embracing her culture, and embracing her traditional clothing and accessories. It's a slow process, but May found herself interested in the heritage. However, as she started to share more about her journey with her friends, they were skeptical of her interest and her heritage. Kiara, her friend, was curious at first, but her interest turned into doubt. "It's just so old-fashioned," Kiara told May. "Why bother with all that when we have everything we need right here in the city?" Her sister June was more polite, but May can tell she was also skeptical. "You don't need to change who you are," June said. "Just because you found with this heritage doesn't mean you have to abandon the city's livelihood." The disapproval from her surrounding hit her hard. She felt like she was being forced to the lifestyle of the city and abandoned her true self. May felt overwhelmed and decided to tell her feelings to her grandmother. She listened patiently to May's thoughts and feelings. "You can't please everyone, May. But you can stay true to yourself," Lynn said to May. May listened to her grandmother's advice and decided to, even though she may not have convinced her friends and family yet, she realized her heritage was a part of her identity, and she won't let that societal pressure change that. She now realized that her heritage is not a burden, it's a treasure. It's about abandoning her modern life, but about integrating the two. May continues to explore her heritage, now with confidence, and she finally feels like she found her purpose in life. Her friends and family, seeing her confidence and authenticity, start to see her heritage not as weird and strange, but as a part of who May is. "Tell us more about your family traditions," Kiara asked her, showing genuine curiosity. May smiled. She feels like she has found a way to mix her past and her present, where she could be both modern and traditional, both connecting her heritage and still adapting to the new world. That's it for my story.
Everyone, today I will present my English story titled Inheriting Our Culture by Isako Yuye. August 18, 1994. A small village in West Java, Magelang. There lies a leader, Amara Irawan. Every year, she would lead a local tradition, called Festival of the Dead to appreciate the dead. Fast forward to the year 2027. My name is Setiawan Irawan, and I am 16 years old. I live in Jogja, Indonesia, as a student in the Universitas Gajah Mada. Most days, I'm just trying to survive university, play basketball, join parties, and avoiding anything that reminds me of our family's complicated tradition. My life is pretty standard, or at least it was. I'm the guy always wearing headphones, always on my smartphone, trying to block out my grandmother's nonstop stories about our family's history. It is super annoying. Currently, I am living in an apartment with my mom and my grandmother. Conveniently, the apartment we live is very close, so I didn't have to rent a dorm. Little did I know, my entire world was about to get flipped upside down. It happened on a normal Friday night. I was playing an online multiplayer game with my friends. Suddenly, something felt weird. The room temperature dropped, the lights flickered, and then she appeared. First, I didn't know who she was until I remembered the figure my grandma always mentioned. It was my great grandmother, Mara, who died long before I was even born. She was glowing, wearing traditional clothing. Her eyes were scary, looking directly at me. You have forgotten, she said with an eerie voice. I thought that this was a hallucination due to the long gaming session. After all, I have been playing for 6 hours straight. I tried to remove it by shaking my head multiple times, though it didn't work. She became a constant presence in my life. During basketball practice, I catch her standing on the sidelines. In class, her reflection would appear in the window. At night, she sits on my work table. My friends started noticing something was different about me. I would zone out during conversations, and usually my game scores dropped. I knew I needed a better solution to solve this problem. The answer came, and it was through Budi Prasetya, the most respected elder in our community. Your great-grandmother, Spirit has chosen you, Budi told me. She believes you can carry our family legacy. Budi wasn't just teaching about the tradition, he was revealing a story I had completely ignored. He told me about my grandmother's life and how she preserved our community tradition during colonial times. I learned that my grandmother was more than just a family member. She was a local hero who had fought to keep our traditions alive during some of the most challenging times in our country's history. The annual community festival was coming up, but gladly, Budi taught me every detail of the ceremony. My grandmother watched with tears in her eyes as I practiced for the first time. She saw me preserving the tradition. The night of the festival arrived. The entire community gathered. Many remembered me as the kid who always tried to avoid these events during ceremony. I was picked as an MC. I was able to give a speech thanks to the training of Budi. My great grandmother, her spirit was from beyond, slowly fading, her mission is complete. I finally understood that tradition wasn't about living in the past. After that night, everything changed, but in the best possible way. Every year, I started to consistently join the festival. I helped Budi teach younger kids about our traditions, and some of my basketball teams have started showing up too, curious about my culture. That's it for my story. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Nisa and today I'll be reading a book called Remember by Nisa Kilazarin and illustrated by Nisa Kilazarin. Bandung, 11 September 2011, 12:25 p.m. Rainy day at school in Bandung. There are 4 students who had a frown on their face looking at the rain that had been going on since this morning. Who are they, you're asking? A girl with long luscious black hair reading a book in the corridor with a frown on her face, seeing her book getting wet from the rainwater. The name is Kayla Natalia Lakeisha, or her friends call her Nala. A sweet girl who loves reading books, eating, hanging out with her friends, and lots of stuffs. Nala isn't as popular as some of her friends, but her closest friends really adores her. In the hallway near Nala's sitting place, a boy and a few of his friends are hanging out while leaning their back on the railing. Turns out it was Fazan, or his full name, Carlos Fazan Gareza Huang. A boy his age has the potential to participate in many science competitions because he is a well-known science competitor that leads his school in many competitions. Thus, also half Chinese, and his family inherits their family business who has been working on for 9 years. Surprisingly, Fazan and Nala are rivals because of one incident that happened in their freshman years, but they promise that they still kept as friends. All the way on the first floor is a girl wearing a headband while interviewing some people for her homework. Duyana Shadira Putri, her name, or Shadira, a girl who's very kind and loves to help people with their homework. Because she's very smart and also likes going in competitions too, Shadira also comes from a very intelligent family, and all her family members are well known. Like her dad is a professor in one of the most prestigious campuses in Indonesia. Not to mention, she's also Nala's best friend, and they always do everything together. Beside her, we could see a boy who's waiting for Shadira to finish her interview. That boy is none other than Antonio Jaffia Chen, or Jeffy. Jeffy is always with Shadira, like always attached with her, and if he loses her, he will go nuts finding her. People say he likes Shadira, but she can't deny the fact that he likes her. The four friends sometimes hang out in Shadira's house and sometimes talk about things and stroll around in her house complex. Minus the fact that two of them are constantly fighting over which opinions are the best and the other two talking about other stuff. Nala called Jeffy. Let me guess. Shadira, Nala said confidently. How do you know? You kept asking me where is she for 1,000 times until now I memorize every time when you're gonna talk about her. Jeffy frowns because he hasn't seen Shadira since lunchtime and now is already home time. But since Nala, Jeffy, and Shadira has some extracurricular activities together, they're gonna go home a little late. Hey guys, sorry I was late. I was doing some student council works, said Shadira, sudden appearance. Hey, you didn't told me you had student council work, said Jeffy. Sorry Jeff, Elio suddenly asked me before I go here. Jeffy forgave her, and the three of them started their extracurricular activities. If you're wondering where's Fazdan, he's been preparing for an upcoming competition he's been waiting for since his freshman year, but he couldn't attend it. It's already 7:46 p.m. Nala just arrived at home and decided to finish her unfinished work. And since tomorrow is Friday, in which she doesn't have anything to do, she could just relax for a bit and just relax her mind. Time already shows 10:20 p.m. and Nala had already done half of her unfinished assignments and was going to bed when suddenly she got a vision about an abandoned temple inside a forest which it stores lots of cultural artifacts, and it looks like it's signaling Nala to find it. That's weird. Nala's head filled with questions and answers to what it have to do and why does she have to find it. She brushed it off thinking it was nothing and then straight go to bed. Chicken chirpings, alarm going off. Nala wakes up to turn off her alarm. Stretching her right hand, she was terrified looking at what is written on her right hand. Why a tattoo on my hand? I never drew it last night. Nala jumped from her bed and sprinted to the bathroom to wash it off, but to her surprise, it was impossible. Why is it hurting when I rinse it off? She hissed in pain, trying her best to remove it. If she can't remove it, she'll be dead going to school. Clock shows 6:50 and she has to go to school, but she's still trying to remove the uncertified permanent tattoo. Her mom's worried calling her for the fourth time and she doesn't have any options to wear but a jacket, which is pretty rare for a girl named Nala because she's rarely sick in a year. Walking to school, looking crooked and feeling hot, she saw her friends all wearing a jacket too and decided to run to them. Nala, you also got it too? Asked Shadira. The tattoo? Nala opens her sleeve and shows them her tattoo. They all look at each other in disbelief. Why do we all woke up with tattoos in our hand? And why all right hands? So many questions in their heads and want to know the answer. I can't go to a competition wearing a jacket like this. It's not appropriate, tempered Fazdan. Then we need to find a way to remove it. But it's hard to remove it. It's too painful, commented Jeffy. Same. I think we all are painful to remove it. All of them, deep down in their minds, thinking how to avoid getting noticed by teachers that they are all wearing jackets and find a way how to remove the tattoo. Wait, I thought to myself and think that I once saw this specific design on a book that I once read, but I forgot which one, said Fazdan. I thought you only read science book, commented Jeffy. Fazdan threw an annoyed face to Jeffy and proceeded to take them to the library. After a good 5 minutes of searching, Fazdan found the book and flipped through the pages to find a specific picture. Found it! It's called the membrane tattoo, and it's a tattoo that was made by our ancestors thousands of years back then to navigate places that they had stored and hide cultural artifacts to prevent them from getting destroyed or taken from the colonial. It's said that 4 people every decade will get the mark, and said that they have to find the artifacts the next day after the tattoo appeared. Nala looked down and thought that they all had to find the missing artifacts by themselves with no help. But why us, the chosen one? Why are we responsible for this? Shadira commented. I don't know, but whatever it takes, we have to find those artifacts and preserve it in order to get rid of this tattoo. And tomorrow, we need to find it. Shadira and Jeffy nodded. Tomorrow, we'll meet at the park. Well, I'm not in, snapped Fazdan while putting the book back. What do you mean? You know, tomorrow I have a very important science competition and I have to join it. Plus, this competition is more important than finding these stupid artifact stuff, tempered Fazdan. Hearing what he said, Nala became furious and snapped. We are helping our ancestors find our cultural artifacts that they've hidden, and it's our duty to preserve them to keep our culture alive. What do you mean it's not important? Nala shouted. Shadira and Jeffy helped Nala's argument because they think Fazdan is talking bad and appropriate to the culture. Do you want to get rid of this massive noticeable tattoo? At that moment, the room became quiet and Fazdan fell to a realization and forgot about the tattoo. I'm still not going, and that's that. Fazdan stormed out of the room, leaving his 3 friends all confused, and if they have to do with only 3 of them. Fazdan needs to pick between his competition he's been dying to compete in, or helping his friends find the missing artifacts in order to get rid of this tattoo. Hard decision has to pick between sacrifice or acceptance. Next morning, Nala, Shadira, and Jeffy arrived at the spot already wearing their hiking outfits and gears, but wait a while in hopes Fazdan changes his mind and comes with them. 10 minutes pass by, but still, he never shows up. With a sad face, they started to walk, and suddenly, hey, you guys are just gonna leave without me? They all turn and see Fazdan wearing his hiking outfit and a big backpack. You actually came? Nala said, walking towards him. I changed my mind last minute and was worried you guys already left, so I ran as fast as I could, and I realized that finding these artifacts and preserve them are way more important than the competition, because if we can't preserve our culture, then our culture won't last long, and our culture will only just disappear in years coming. Hearing that, Nala relief because Fazdan realized what he had to do and came to help them to find the artifacts. Even Jeffy was touched and almost cried. Guys, I can't take it. It's too emotional, Jeffy said as he group hugged them. After a good 2 minutes of hugging them, they let go and start their journey, using the tattoos as their guide map. Village after village, riding cars after cars, and finally hiking mountain, they finally arrive at the place. An old house, but looks like it's locked up, and they don't know how to unlock it. Nala had an idea to hover her hand to the closed door, and she signaled her friends to do it too, in hopes to open the doors. They close their eyes and wait until the door opens. As they hovered their hands, they could feel a waver of wind circling them and felt a click from the door. The door slowly opens, revealing a house with multiple and lots of still in shape artifacts. They all smiled, seeing all of these other artifacts and thinking that they are the ones who found them and they could preserve them. They then put the artifacts in the box they bring and start to put them. After they're done, they walk back to the bottom of the mountain and find a place where there's internet and to order a car to pick them up. The next day, they went to the museum to give them the artifacts and asked them to preserve them in the museum. They consulted for a good 1 hour, and eventually the manager accepts them to preserve some of the artifacts. The sun is setting, and they decide to go to the nearby park and stroll around for a while. Nala, I have something for you, Fazdan said. What's that? Suddenly, Fazdan took out 2 diamond earrings from his pocket and gave them to Nala. I found them yesterday when collecting the vanity in a room, and they're not really that cultural, and so I thought giving them to you. So random of you giving me something, teased Nala. This is my thank you, that you changed my mind yesterday, and you reassuring me along the way, he said while helping her putting it on. After he's done putting them onto her, he looked at her with butterflies in his stomach, thinking, how can someone be as perfect as her? What do you think? Asked Nala. It looks good on you, said Fazdan while smiling. Both of them were smiling for a good 5 minutes, and they didn't know. Both of them were smiling for a good 5 minutes until they didn't realize that the moon's already here. The moon's beautiful, isn't it? Said Fazdan while looking at her. The end. Thank you for listening to my story. Hopefully you like it.
Hey guys, my name is Tahira Putri Haderingratha, and I'm from 89A. Today, I'm going to read a good story that I made called Shadows of the Goddess. So one day, Fang Luan had always been different. From the moment he could hold a spoon, he was in the kitchen watching his family cook. Cooking wasn't just a hobby for them, it was sacred practice, an art passed down through generations in honor of the goddess of nature. The goddess's crops were revered, and each family member was expected to create a dish that embodied the goddess's blessings. It was a legacy, a way of showing appreciation for the earth's bounty. And in this family, cooking wasn't optional, it was essential. Fang Luan's older sister, Chalian, was the Fang Luan's older sister, Chalian, was the golden child. She was everything their parents hoped for skilled in the kitchen. Since childhood, Chalian has been the one to take the spotlight, creating complex dishes that makes their parents beam with pride. Fang Luan, on the other hand, struggles. Despite his best efforts, his dishes were always lacking in some way, either too salty, too bland, or too balanced. His failures were met with disappointments, and his parents often whispered in the corner about his lack of talent. But Fang Luan didn't give up. He knew that in his family like this, cooking wasn't just about making food, it was about finding a purpose. By the time he was 16, every member of his family had already mastered their signature dish. His younger cousins had their recipes memorized, and his sister Chalian had perfected an intricate noodle dish that seemed to embody the every essence of the goddess. But Fang Luan felt like he was still floundering, unable to find that one dish that would make him stand out. His family saw it as his failing, but Fang Luan wasn't ready to give up. The pressure was overwhelming. On his 16th birthday, the day of the annual cook-off arrived. The event was the ultimate test of every family's member culinary skills. It was a competition, but more importantly, it was a rite of passage. Every family member had to prepare a dish using the goddess crops, something that would represent their connection to the earth. By the time they were 17, each person had to make the dish that was uniquely theirs, something they could claim as their own, something that was perfect in harmony with the goddess's spirit. Fang Luan knew this was his chance. His nerves were on edge, his palms clammy, but he was determined to show his family that he was capable. The competition was fierce. His sister Chalian was already known for her culinary brilliance, and her reputation loomed over him like a cloud. She was calm, confident, and effortlessly skilled. Fang Luan, however, was a bundle of nerves. The pressure of trying to please his parents, who never seemed to see his potential, weighed heavily on him, but he refused to let his fear paralyze him. He had a dish in mind, a twist of the classic koloke, a Chinese dish featuring fried chicken drizzled with a sweet and sour honey sauce. As the cook-off began, Fang Luan worked steadily, his movements quick but precise. The kitchen was alive with activity as his family prepared their dishes, and he could hear the sounds of sizzling, chopping, and stirring all around him. He felt the heat of the moment, but for the first time in a long time, he was in the zone. The ingredients came together beautifully, the chicken crisping up perfectly, the sauce simmering in a rich golden hue. It was a dish that felt like him. His fingers trembled, but the adrenaline was pushing him forward. Then disaster struck. One of his key ingredients, a rare herb he had spent days searching, was missing. Panic gripped him. He searched the kitchen frantically, but there was no sign of it. He felt his confidence slip away. His heart pounded in his chest as he realized that without this ingredient, his dish would be incomplete. His mind raced. What would he do? The clock is ticking, and his dish was nowhere near finished. For a moment, he considered giving up. What was the point in continuing if he couldn't make it perfect? But then, in a flash of clarity, Fang Luan remembered an alternative ingredient, one he tested in the kitchen but had never dared to use in a competition. It wasn't exactly what he had planned, but it could work. Taking a deep breath, he added the substitute on the carried on, his resolve hardening. The moment the bell rang, signaling the end of the competition, Fang Luan let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding in. His dish was ready. He presented his koloke to the goddess of nature, his heart racing. She took a big bite, closing her eyes in concentration. The silence was deafening. Finally, she smiled, nodding her approval. "It's delicious," she said, "but it's missing something." Fang Luan's heart sank, but he held his composure. He had expected this. Even if it wasn't perfect, it was his dish. It was his creation. He had worked hard, and that was what mattered. Despair took over, and Fang Luan fled to a cliff nearby, the wind whipping around him. He stood at the edge, contemplating everything that he had led to this moment, his failures, his disappointments, his parents' disapproval. It all felt like too much to bear. He was about to step forward when he heard a voice call out to him. It was his aunt and uncles, rushing towards him with an urgent look on their faces. They had something to tell him. In the midst of his anguish, they revealed the truth. Chalian had cheated. She had used a cookbook that she had written months ago, a direct violation of the competition's rules. The dishes were meant to be memorized, not written down. Fang Luan's breath caught in his throat. The truth was out. Chalian's victory was hollow. The goddess has been deceived. And in that moment, Fang Luan realized something. He had won. Not because of the dish he had made, but because he had stayed true to himself. The goddess of nature herself came forward and acknowledged Fang Luan's dedication and effort. You may not have won this competition, she said, but you have proven something much more important, that your spirit is strong and your determination is unwavering. That is what truly matters, said the goddess. Fang Luan's heart swelled with pride. His family, initially focused on Chalian's victory, now saw him in a new light. They realized of his hard work, his persistence, and his unique dish had earned him the respect he deserved. In the end, Fang Luan didn't just make his family proud, he made himself proud. He had found his own path, his own dish, and had overcome the shadows of doubt and competition. And in that, he had truly honored the goddesses of nature's gift. Okay, the end. Thank you. Bye.
Hello everyone! Today I'm going to share my story, which I made in Hella, that is titled The Legend of Mei Shuhua, made by me. So one day, chapter 1. So one day there was a girl named Mei Shuhua. She wanted to be a fashion designer, and soon she landed a job interview in New York. She soon went to New York and then arrived. She called for a taxi and then she soon went to her new apartment. After she got to the apartment, she was very happy and also very exhausted. So afterwards, she decided to sleep and rest before her interview tomorrow. Tomorrow soon arrived, and afterwards, she decided to get ready and got ready super early to prepare everything she needs. Afterwards, she went to Swatson's studio of fashion and design, and soon she went in for her interview. To cut it short, the interview went more smoothly and better than expected, and when she went out, she let out a sigh of relief that she actually did it. Soon after, she felt very hungry, and soon found and asked some locals for a food recommendation or food places. Afterwards, most of the locals recommended a place called Mike's Diner, which turned out to be a 90s-80s inspired diner with a lot of achievements and very cute decoration. Afterwards, she soon met a waiter named Ellie. And after she met Ellie, soon after, May decided to ask Ellie for the chef recommendations. After Ellie said a few recommendations, May wasn't very interested with her options, so she decided to ask Ellie what her favorite item was. Ellie said that her favorite item was the chicken waffle, but most people don't like it because it's way too spicy. Because of that, they found out they have something in common and soon had a delightful chat. Afterwards, May decided to order the chicken waffle to see. After her food arrived, she tried it and was surprised that it was actually pretty good. After she was done, she went to the cashier and then paid for her food. They have a wonderful and delightful chat afterwards before May decided to go home and rest for the night. After the next day, May soon got an email. From the interviewer and read the email. She found out that she actually made it in. She was so happy that she called her sister to tell her the good news. After she called her sister, she decided for that day she would rest and explore everywhere around New York, food places, fashion stores, and etc. to get familiar. After that long day, she decided to rest for the next day to meet the director of Swatson's Fashion and Designing. The next day, she got up really early as well and then soon went to the building, the Swatson studio, to be interviewed by the director. The director was a woman named Helena Servas and was, kind of strict and also very scary. The director asked each of the people in the interview room to design something in 60 minutes. Afterwards, May showed her design, but almost didn't get accepted. But at the end, because of her assistance analyze, and observation, she got in. But May soon worked there, and then she soon felt empty, kind of tired, and honestly, she lost her spirit to fashion design. Until one day, she was chosen by the company to design something for a competition. She poured her heart and soul into the dress that she was supposed to show on the runway. And she told her friends, Ellie and Evan from the diner, about this news. They were happy for her, and soon the day for her to show her dress arrived. Helena took one look at the dress and was disappointed. She said that the dress didn't fit the company's standards at all. And so, Helena decided to choose another fashion designer to take over. May was so sad and so mad afterwards that she went to the diner to calm herself a bit after she angrily left the building. Ellie and Evan comforted her and gave her the idea that she should go back to Jakarta to calm down and think about what she can do next. After a while, May agreed. After May agreed, she soon packed everything and went to Jakarta, where she informed her sister that she was coming, and soon her sister picked her up. It took a very long time for May to adjust to her situation, but the longer she spent time with her family and friends, and also the longer she spent exploring Jakarta, she felt happier. Afterwards, one day, and during New Year's, her sister asked what she wished for, and she still wished to become a famous fashion designer. So her sister had the idea to make a business together, and May designed the outfits. Afterwards, she went back to New York and worked with her best friend Ayu, to start the business. To cut it short, the business went successfully, and soon she was able to grow into a big company, one of the best fashion companies to have globally. One day, during the Fashion of the World tour, like usual, the annual event, she met Helena and was surprised that she didn't look like her usual self. Turns out after they talked, they found out that Helena got fired from the job because she managed to let go of so many fashion designers back during Swatson's company. So May learned her backstory and how she became this way because of her mentor and decided to give her a second chance. Afterwards, they become good friends, and May celebrated that night with Ellie and Evan. And that's my story. And that's the story I created. So thank you for listening to my storytelling.
Okay, today I'm going to present my Hella story. Monica, a 16-year-old from Yogyakarta, is a kind-hearted and responsible teenager deeply rooted in Indonesian culture values such as tolerance, gotong royong, cooperation, and respect for others. She often participates in community activities, helping neighbors in promoting traditional practices. Grab, 17 years old, new to the town, is known for his self-centered attitude and lack of respect for shared values. He often prioritizes his desire over the other's needs. His actions frequently disrupt the harmony of the community. Supporting them are Desimir, Monica, cheerful and optimistic best friend, and Nicola, a thoughtful and fair-minded person. Together, their interactions shape the story exploration of respect, fairness, and culturalism in the vibrant setting of Indonesia in 2010. In the village of Yogyakarta, Monica and her friend were excitedly preparing for the annual cultural festival. The event celebrated traditional dances, craft, and food, and everyone in the village worked together, showing the spirit gotong royong. Monica led the decoration team, with Desimir and Nicola happily helping her. Grab, a boy who recently moved to the village, wasn't interested in the festival. Instead, he often bragged about his life in the city and looked for ways to make easy money. One day, he noticed a beautiful batik cloth Monica had made for the festival. Impressed by its design, he decided to take it without asking and planned to sell it in a nearby town. When Monica realized her batik cloth was missing, she was heartbroken. It had taken her weeks to make, and it was essential to her and the festival itself. Decimir and Nicola helped her search everywhere, but they couldn't find it. Soon people began to suspect Gurab, especially after he was seen with new items he couldn't explain how he bought. On the day before the festival, the village gathered for the final preparations. Despite the festive atmosphere, Monica couldn't shake her worry about the missing batik cloth. Meanwhile, rumors about Grubb's suspicious behavior had spread, creating unease among the village community. That evening, Monica finally decided to bring the matter to the community elders during a musyawarah meeting. With Desimir and Nicole by her side, she explained the situation, sharing her suspicions about Grubb's involvement. At the musyawarah meeting, Grubb stood nervously in front of the elders and the villagers. After some initial hesitation, he finally admitted to taking Monica's batik cloth. He explained that he sold it, not fully understanding its importance to the festival or the community. His confession brought a mix of relief and disappointment to the villagers. The elder decided that Grub needed to take responsibility of his action. They instructed him to use money he earned to buy the batik cloth back and help Monica with any task she needed for the festival. Grub agreed, apologizing, apologizing sincerely to Monica and the community for his selfish behavior. Monica was still hurt by his action, thanked Grub for taking responsibility. She invited him to join the final preparation for the festival, allow him to show his commitment to change. With Desimir and Nicola's support, Grub began to bond with other villagers, slowly earning their trust. Thank you, Mr. Rama.
Hello everyone. Today would like to read you a story I wrote, which is called Whispers of the Wind. I hope you guys like it. The story began with a captivating moment when Yami first sees Han Shuyan, a talented performer bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. Her voice, a silken thread weaving through the air, enchants him, and her warm honey-colored eyes and radiant smile left him breathless. This magical encounter takes place at a park where Shuyan's heartfelt performance drawn in an audience that includes Yami, who is mesmerized by her beauty and artistry. After her performance, Yami mustered the courage to approach her, stumbling over his words in a mix of admiration and nervous excitement. Their initial exchange is filled with a spark of connection, and he feels an undeniable pull towards her. However, Shu Yan's world is complicated. She returns home, where she faces her father's strict expectations and disapproval. He's a traditional man, wary of dangers that comes with being a young woman in the world. His anger and anxiety about Shu Yan's late nights weigh heavily on her, creating an internal conflict between her desires for independence and her father's protective nature. As the story unfolds, we find Yami and Shiyan navigating the complexities of their budding relationship. After their initial meeting, they start dating quietly and secretly cherishing stolen moments with teen shifts at her father's cafe and enjoying hushed conversation in dimly lit corners. Their connection deepens as they share their passions. Yami's love of vintage vinyls and Shiyan's artistic dreams. Each encounters feel thrilling and precious, yet they are acutely aware of the risks they are taking. The tension escalates when Xu Yan's cousin, Li Wei, discover their relationship. Li Wei's fierce and protective of her family's reputation harbor deep-seated prejudice stemming from a painful family history. As the news of Yami and Xu Yan's romance spread, it reaches her father, igniting a storm of conflict. He confronts Xu Yan, filled with rage and disappointment, demanding that she end her relationship with Yami, he sees as a representation of past traumas and societal division. The climax of the story reveals a pivotal confrontation in which Shu Yan stands alongside Yami. As they face her father, the atmosphere is charged with tension. and emotions run high. Despite Yami's respectful demeanor and attempts to explain his genuine intentions, Shu Yan's father remains steadfast in his anger, unable to pass his own biases. Shu Yan felt torn between her loyalty to her family and her love for Yami, making this a heart wrenching moment of the conflict. Yet, the following action introduced a slow but powerful transformation. Yami's patience and integrity begin to chip away at the father's hardened heart. He demonstrates his respect for Shuyan and her family through small acts of kindness, gradually earning their trust, little by little. Shuyan's father starts to notice the positive impact Yami has on his daughter, her happiness, confidence, and the love they share. The process of acceptance is subtle but profound, showcasing the power of understanding and empathy in overcoming prejudice. As time goes on, the resolutions unfolds beautifully. Shuyan's father witnesses Yami's unwavering love and respect begins to soften. The tension once filled the air is replaced by a cautious acceptance, leading to a heartfelt reconciliation. Liu Wei too experienced a change of heart, ultimately supporting the couple and even helping to plan their wedding. In the final acts of the story, we fast forward a few years to find Yami and Juyan happily married. Now parents to a beautiful child, they share a cozy evening in their warm living room, reflecting on their journey together, the struggles they face, the initial disapproval from family, the societal obstacles, and the gradual acceptance have forged a strong bond between them. As they recounter the love story, they emphasize the importance of patience, resilience, and triumph of over prejudice. These stories conclude a reminder that love can transcend biases, heal wounds, and create a united family. Yami and Shuyan's journey serves a testament to the power of connections, understanding, and enduring strength, love, and inspiring stories that will pass down to their child, ensuring that the lessons learned are never forgotten. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you enjoy.
Introduction. Ahmad came from a Javanese family. He has lived near Queen River Village for his whole life, and City also has the same background as Abdul. The village officials one day they all met in the village and aimed to meet Sri, an employee at a big company. Sri said the whole company wanted to create a hotel on the riverside, which could be a big problem for villagers since the riverside is mainly important for jobs, transportation, and washing, and also bathing themselves. Thank you. Sri forced the village's residents to sign a paper allowing the hotel to be built on the riverside, which was a big problem since this river is an important place for them. Of course, the villagers would not sign the paper. Because Sri and her team would not stop forcing the villagers, Ahmad Siti and Abdul came back to gather most of the villagers to protest on the hotel's construction site. In Queen River Village, Banjar Masin, they plan to do this protest at night. The villagers, as well as Ahmad, Siti, and Abdul, brought fireworks and torches to destroy the construction site. After they got to the construction site, their goal and vision was to destroy the hotel construction site. They arrived at the hotel construction site, but they heard rumbling from the river. Suddenly, a dozen fine spirits came to the construction site and destroyed the hotel construction site, including tools, and then washed the people ashore of the river. This phenomena also made a few people uh, have a few fatalities. So, to the end, the resolution is that the elderly from the village said that the spirit of the river has just shown up from the river, and it's believed to have destroyed some parts of the village for construction for the hotel, and most parts of the village houses were also destroyed and demolished during the river spirits phenomena. Fortunately, Sri decided to call off the plans to construct the hotel. Budi, Rina, and Hassan were village construction workers. From the past, they were called back to rebuild village. The end. So that is the end of my storytelling. Thank you so much.
Walter Susanto, Hank Toro, and Jesse Saul are trying to restore the culture by restoring the forest in their knowledge, but everyday efforts aren't enough. Hank pointed out that this is a useless endeavor, so he decided to leave the forest.